Alcaraz is a joke right now.
Unbelievable. I think he's playing like Federer.
It's the biggest victory of his career for sure.
No, I'm hungry.
If player and coach aren't getting along, that's what happens.
Tennis players are finally admitting what fans have been thinking for months. Not in press conferences, not in interviews, but in the way they play against him, in the way matches keep ending. The truth is becoming impossible to ignore. Jannik Sinner, the world number one, the reigning Grand Slam champion, is not even close to Carlos Alcaraz's level when it matters most. Not in deciding sets, not in the biggest moments, not when championships are actually on the line.
For those who think that Djokovic beating Sinner in the semifinal of the Australian Open means that the big three is playing better tennis than Alcaraz and Sinner, this is a very short view.
Doha was just the latest proof. Quarterfinals, Jakub Mensik, a 20-year-old with nothing to lose. The match was tight, Sinner had his chances, and then the third set arrived. And just like it has been happening again and again, Sinner came up short, 6-3. Not a tiebreak, not a few unlucky points, a complete takeover by a player who had no business dominating the world number one in a deciding set. And the way it happened is what nobody can stop talking about.
Simply has just walked into the conversation with the best of all time. There's only so many people on earth that can walk around and say to any Grand Slam venue and be like, oh, I won here too. The youngest to have ever done it by a couple of years, edging out Rafa. And then after Rafa, it jumps too. It's not as if there's like Rafa and then there's like three people close like within a year. How lucky is tennis that after the big three, big four, you have this guy whose game you can't take your eyes off of.
And he becomes the first man in the Open era to win each slam.
Because when you line up Sinner's results in the biggest moments, against what Alcaraz keeps doing in those exact same situations, something becomes very clear very fast. These two players are not operating on the same level right now. The players on tour already know it, the coaches see it, and match by match, result by result, the rest of the world is starting to catch up. Doha told a story, not through the final scoreline alone, but through the way it unfolded point by point. Sinner came into that quarterfinal as the heavy favorite. He had the ranking, he had the experience. He had every reason to close that match out comfortably. And for stretches, he looked like he would. His ball striking was clean. His movement was precise. He had break chances in the first set that could have changed everything. But he didn't convert them. He lost the set in a tiebreak. And from that moment, something shifted. Mensik started playing freer, more aggressive, less hesitation. Every ball he hit carried the confidence of someone who believed he was going to. This level, a little is everything. This level, a little is everything. The third set ended 6-3. That's not a tiebreak. That's not a couple of unlucky points bouncing the wrong way. A 6-3 third set means one player took complete control when it mattered most. And it wasn't the world number one. But here's what makes this more than just a bad day in Doha. This same story has played out before. In Grand Slams, in big matches. When the deciding set arrives, the results have not been going Sinner's way. You can explain it away once, you can call it variance twice. But when it keeps happening, when the pattern keeps repeating across different tournaments, different surfaces, different opponents, it stops being bad luck. It becomes something else entirely. It becomes a question about what's happening mentally when the pressure hits its absolute peak.
For me, Sinner, as far as controlling the middle of the court. So you serve first ball, you return deep, first ball in the middle of the court. He's as good as I've seen at swallowing the middle of the court with pace. You can hit it hard. He will stay in that cross-court rally if he needs to, and you can't gain on him with pace. Nobody is going through Jannik Sinner.
Sinner's entire game is built on control, clean, ball striking, structure, rhythm. When everything is working, he is one of the most suffocating players on the planet to face. He doesn't give you anything. He constructs points methodically and waits for you to break down before he finishes. That system works beautifully when he's feeling confident and locked in. But tennis doesn't stay clean, especially in third sets, especially against young players who have nothing to lose and everything to gain. Chaos creeps in, momentum swings, the crowd gets loud. And in those moments right now, Sinner doesn't look fully comfortable. You can see it in the small details. Slower between points, a glance toward his box, that slight pause before a big second serve. These are not catastrophic signs. But they are signals, and the best players on tour are reading them clearly. Now look at Carlos Alcaraz and compare what you see, because the contrast is not subtle anymore. Alcaraz is not a perfect tennis player. Nobody watching him closely would claim that. He sprays errors. He loses focus for stretches. He gets visibly frustrated when things aren't going his way. There are matches where he looks completely lost for an entire set. But then something happens. Instead of tightening, he opens up. Instead of playing safer, he plays bigger. He hits a ridiculous down-the-line winner on a crucial point. He saves a break point with a first serve that had no business going in. He finds a way. Even on his worst days, he finds a way.
Hating him a little bit.
Do you see the final, Roland Garros?
Yeah, this was unbelievable. How did he come back from this? This is gonna haunt. Is this gonna like stay with Sinner for a while, huh?
He lost 4 times in a row against him before,
Yeah.
and now it's 5. And how?
I think this is gonna haunt Sinner.
But the level?
It's a joke. I think Alcaraz will get the number because I don't think there are as many good players. Like when Federer, Nadal and Djokovic were getting the slams, there were more outside players that could beat them, you know? Like there were more dangerous players. I don't think Sinner and Alcaraz can lose to anyone. Like maybe Novak, maybe like not in best of 5.
And that ability to survive, to win ugly, to escape moments that should end him is not a small thing. It is the most important thing. The difference between these two players right now comes down to one sentence. Sinner is playing not to lose. Alcaraz is playing to take it. That mental distinction sounds simple, but its consequences are enormous. When you play not to lose, you become reactive. You wait. You hope your opponent makes enough errors. You try to protect what you have rather than seize what's available. And at the highest level of tennis, against the best players in the world, that approach gets exposed every single time. Alcaraz, in a deciding set, is not thinking about protecting anything. He's hunting. Even when he's down a break. Even when the crowd is against him. Even when everything is going wrong, there's this visible belief that if he keeps pushing, something is going to turn. And it usually does. This is where the conversation about 2026 gets serious. Because both of these players are entering what should be the absolute prime of their careers. The margins between the top players on tour are already razor thin. Technique separates nobody at this level. Fitness separates nobody. What separates them is what happens inside their heads at 4-4 in the third set, with everything on the line. Right now, Alcaraz owns that moment. Sinner is struggling with it, and the longer that continues, the more dangerous it becomes, not just because of the matches Sinner loses, but because of what those losses are building in the minds of every player on tour. Younger players are starting to walk onto court against Sinner with a specific belief. If I push this into a third set, I have a real chance.
Alcaraz back-to-back in 5 sets. He probably still doesn't know that. You know, the depressing part is you take out one and then you got the other one. I mean, that match against Sinner is going to be one of my favorite matches that he's played. You know, this kind of, you don't want to say underdog because that's disrespectful, but like this moment in time is going to be really appreciated.
Mensik had that belief in Doha. You could see it in the way he played when the match got tight. He didn't back off, he stepped forward. He trusted himself in exactly the moment where Sinner didn't. And that reputation, once it takes hold, is extraordinarily difficult to shake, because tennis is as much a psychological sport as it is a physical one. If 20 players on tour believe they can beat you in a decider, some of them are going to be right. And those losses stack up. They compound. They feed the doubt that created them in the first place. Alcaraz is building the opposite reputation in real time. Every ugly win he grinds out. Every match he escapes when he had no right to. Every moment he survives that should have finished him adds another layer to the aura surrounding him. Opponents walk onto court against Alcaraz knowing that even if they're ahead, even if they're playing the better tennis, he is never actually done.
It's been working great, there's no doubt about that, but you know who has a problem with it? The guy who served that it looks like, Novak.
Yeah, I hear that. I have the contract over there, but I haven't seen him yet, so...
Alcaraz than Sinner, he would take Alcaraz all day long.
He wants to take your best punch, know he can handle it. He just rips your heart out. It's like he wants to beat your mom too, right?
Alcaraz, I've played Novak here. I know how hard he is to beat, and for Alcaraz to do it.
That fear is worth more than any technical advantage. It changes how opponents play. It makes them hesitate at exactly the wrong moment. And that hesitation is the difference between winning and losing at this level. So where does this leave Sinner heading into the rest of 2026? He is still one of the best players on the planet. His baseline level over 2 sets is as high as almost anyone on tour. His ball striking, his defense, his consistency, none of that has disappeared. But the Grand Slams are not played over 2 sets. The biggest matches are not decided in the first hour. They're decided in the moments when everything has gone sideways and one player finds something extra while the other finds nothing. Right now, Alcaraz finds something, Sinner finds nothing. And unless that changes, the conversation around these two players is going to keep moving in one direction. Not a rivalry between equals, but a slow, uncomfortable separation between a player who trusts himself completely in the biggest moments and a player who is still searching for that trust. The ranking might still say number 1, but the matches are telling a different story entirely. Is Sinner finished at the top, or can he turn this around? Drop your answer below.